All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Millionth show. My name is James, joined once again by Henry. How you doing?
I mean, I was doing pretty well until I actually finished watching this. Then I had to pay for therapy. So,
Yeah, man.
is how it is.
Well, yeah, obviously today we're talking about Batman and Robin, 1997, and yeah, this is so far we haven't been blessed with really good Batman films so far. We had Batman '89 and Batman Returns. They were, Batman '89 was amazing. Batman Returns was good. The rest has been. And
Questionable.
this is so far the hardest one to watch for me, man. I really struggled to watch this. I remember getting halfway through it. This is obviously the first time I watched it as well. So I got about halfway through it and I was like, fuck, I paused it. I was writing some notes. I paused it and I was like, shit. I'm only 1 hour in, man.
Yeah.
Fuck, this is 2 hours that I will never get back.
Oh man.
Um,
I don't know what to say about this. I mean, this because I only know this film is shit, and all I know is Mr. Freeze is being played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I didn't know there were a couple things that popped up in it, there's Batgirl, Poison Ivy, Bane of all people.
Yeah. I had no idea Bane was in this film. I had no idea. I knew about the rest, but I didn't know Bane was in it. But
Yeah, he's not really
that was
relevant
nice.
anyway.
But yeah, Schwarzenegger. I mean, fun fact: this is the 18th Schwarzenegger film I've seen. I might have seen more films with him than any other actor. This is the 18th because I went through a phase when I was young. I watched all his movies, like even the shit ones, but I still didn't watch this one. And this, I went back on my IMDb rankings to double check this. Of the 18 Arnold Schwarzenegger films I've seen, I mean, there are some bad ones in there. Believe me, this was the worst. This was the worst. That's how bad it is. I mean, the good thing about that though is the fact that Schwarzenegger at least gave me something to look forward to watch because I was going to this film like, okay, what can I look forward to? What can I take out of this? I could take a bit of Arnie, man. I've always been a fan of his. This is a film of his that I haven't seen, which is rare. I've seen most of his films, so this is something. Okay, I know I've seen most of his quotes from this film anyway, but I don't know. So unfortunately, there wasn't really much new there, but.
Yeah, so even though his puns may be terrible, and as his part in the film is kind of, famously terrible, it's at least you get to see him wearing fluffy slippers in this stupid fucking outfit. That's kind of entertaining, but not for the right
reasons. You know what I like? One thing I appreciated a little bit about specifically his performance. He was enjoying himself in this film. You could see that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because from George Clooney, for example, he was like he didn't want to be there. This was a chore for him,
Yeah, he certainly looked like it. But
Schwarzenegger was like, you could see he was having a good time with this film, and you got to respect that. It's not. And unfortunately, it's not in the same way that Jack Nicholson was enjoying himself in Batman '89. Sure. But nevertheless, it was still it was still. I don't know. I mean, so this came out in '97. Directed by Joel Schumacher, so this is the last of the four kind of what do you want to call it? Kind of the universe.
The Michael Gough quadrilogy,
that's the Michael Gough / Pat Hingle.
Quadrilogy. It's their cinematic universe.
This is their fucking cinema.
Yeah, I mean, it might as well be Michael Gough's one because he's the only character that is still there apart from Pat Hingle. We see him for a combined total of 5 seconds.
Fucking Hingle, man.
But I don't know. Alfred evolves throughout this, but we'll get to that later. I mean,
yeah. Sure. So yeah, once again directed by Joel Schumacher. Not produced by Tim Burton this time, evidently.
Yeah, he bailed out here.
Yeah, he washed his hands of this shit, man. After Batman Forever. But yeah, I think we should just get into it, to be honest. And then, I want to spend as little time talking about remembering that I want to be able to close this chapter and never think about
this. This is an actual this is unpacking my trauma for this film, man.
And we begin with the Batman and Robin suiting up, and you get all again the arse.
Oh my days! Yeah, when I saw that, they both have.
You can't even begin this film trying to go into it on okay, let's keep an open mind. You know, you've seen Batman Forever. You know this is the fucking sequel of that. So you know, let's try and be
Yeah.
open-minded, give it a chance, and just straight away it slaps you in the face. You know.
I mean, it's a very similar opening to that to Batman Forever in that it's Batman suiting up, but this time it's with Robin.
Yeah, it was with Robin, and it's somehow even fucking
Oh
worse.
yeah, their
It's
opening lines
somehow
again.
worse than Batman Forever's opening. It's somehow worse
Oh,
because in Batman Forever he's like the drive-through joke, and you're like, okay. And
it's
then this
at
is like
least it's
Robin.
like it's
Sorry.
very low hanging fruit, and it's like it borderlines on parody, but it's
Oh
kind
no,
of
this was
funny.
full fucking parody, man. This makes Adam West Batman look serious. You know.
Yeah. So Adam West, like in the fucking Chris Nolan trilogy, like compared to this.
Yeah, at least Adam West and all that was like they're in spandex suits and stuff. You know, it's obviously not serious. You know, and that's consistent. Whereas this is trying to carry on from what began as a serious series of films to a complete fucking joke, man.
Yeah,
So
like
you've got them
yeah, their
suiting
first
up.
lines as well. Yeah, it's like,
Oh yeah,
oh, I
wait,
want a car.
before we
Chicks
even
dig
get
the
into the
car.
opening line of this film, before we even get into that, I just want to like highlight again, the close-ups on the ass and the bat nipples more pronounced than before.
Yeah, and
This is like
they
on
even
display, you
reference
know.
it in this fucking film. Like they're like, oh yeah, you got nipples on this, isn't that so fucking
Not just
funny? And it's
nipples,
like,
erect nipples. You know, it wasn't enough. The Val Kilmer, we had the nipples, but you know they were a little bit more subtle. It was just the areola, the ring. You know, whereas these suits like the molded fucking little nipple on there. So that was interesting to see.
yeah.
And then yeah, we see the Batmobile, a new Batmobile, and I don't know why we needed another Batmobile.
Oh, they
But
crashed the last one, right? He even brings it up. They try to
yeah,
bring it back, and then he
but
goes through
did
more
he? I don't
classic
remember
James
him
Bond. I
crashing the
swear.
last one.
I don't know. No, he did destroy the last one. I'm pretty sure. Don't care to remember
Can't
how.
even remember. This is the thing. I just deleted that film from my brain.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I hope I can do
but
the same
like
with this.
the opening line of this film, the opening dialogue is Robin's like, "Oh, I want a car.
Yeah.
Chicks dig the car,"
And then
and then Batman
Batman
goes,
says, "Oh yeah, this is why Superman works slow." And it's like, I
"Yeah,
like it's been I thought to myself, it's been 5 seconds. And I want to kill myself. Like,
yeah, exactly. I'm here. I'm already like, fuck me. This is gonna be a long two
this
hours."
makes me miss the drive-through joke.
Yeah. This is where I was like, "Oh, okay. Oh man, fucking hell." And then Alfred is visibly dying, like he's visibly aging because they drive off, and then Alfred looks after them, like sees them off, and he's there, and he just
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
the
lets out
camera hangs on them. Yeah,
this groan, this sigh of like, I started off with Jack Nicholson, and now I'm reduced to this man.
yeah. It's like maybe this is
What
like
has this franchise become?
yeah, maybe this is like this is a further proof towards the theory that this is actually his like quadrology, because it's his evolution that as the films get worse, his cancer gets worse as well with it.
It surely does. He's visibly he's like, I'm done with this shit. Is this all my fault? It's like he's going through a lot there, and
Nice.
and then funnily enough, actually, I didn't realize this, but it's actually not only is he obviously like dying inside the actor himself at what's going on in this, what's happening with Batman. What he must feel partly. I don't know if he was feeling responsible or whatever because he was at him and Pat Hingle hanging out on the sets, and they're like starting off with like fucking Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, man, serious actors, serious plot, Batmobile, all that shit, plots and all that music and stuff. They're like, this is fucking, and now they're sat around having a fucking like sat there looking at each other like fucking hell, man. Like what have we become?
Yeah, it's like
How
how the mighty
is
have
it a bad
fallen.
sign that we're the only ones that have survived
Yeah,
this?
they
Should we be
cycled
worried?
through what like 3 Batmans as well in this time. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. They must be sat there thinking like why have they kept us on? Is this a bad? Does
this
this make us bad
punishment. Yeah.
actors? Does this make us like part of this? I don't know, man.
Well,
Fuck me. So yeah.
yeah,
So
they're
anyway.
going off to stop Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. Basically, they just go and find Mr. Freeze, get straight into it. You've got Commissioner Gordon on the Batmobile's telephone thing, and he's like, "Yeah, there's a new villain called Mr. Freeze." Mr. Freeze. Okay.
Yeah,
So they
great
go and
intro, mate. Yeah, thanks.
yeah. They get the first fight scene. Um, One cool thing about this film, which I will say, is Mr. Freeze. I mean, no pun intended. Fucking hell, like not after that film,
Yeah,
but
I'm a bit done with those.
I think the actual visual effects of the shit freezing were actually very good.
I mean, yeah, I guess for 1997 it was pretty good, but
I
like,
thought it was okay. I thought the people and the stuff being thrown, the freeze gun. I think actually those effects were quite good.
yeah. Actually, I guess I obviously 20 years on, I don't like it, but I guess it's like, well, 25 years on actually. It could have been a lot worse now that I come to think of it. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, one thing I did, the one thing I thought was okay with this scene, I was like, oh, that's novel, was all his goons, they got ice hockeys or whatever, sorry, hockey sticks, which is fucking stupid, yeah, but like they're playing hockey with the diamond or something. I was like, oh, okay, I guess they did something with the hockey part,
yeah.
but
And
then
then
it
Batman and
reminded me,
Robin fall back, click their heels together like fucking
oh
Wizard
yeah,
of
that was
Oz,
fucking
man, and they
stupid.
get like little, oh mate,
Yeah, but like
ice skates on their shoes, man.
yeah, it's like, how did they know? Because beforehand they weren't told, oh, this is
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Freeze exists, so they just had this just in case they happened to go ice skating, together, right?
Presumably they just saw the bat signal and then do it, and then as they're on their way, Commissioner Gordon tells them, "Yeah, it's Mr. Freeze. Go here."
Oh, I don't know. But
And
actually, yeah, going back to the diamond thing though, one thing that reminded me of, I was like, this feels similar to a film I've seen before, and it was like there were a few times where I felt like this, and it was like this part where they're like trying to get this diamond feels like in a Temple of Doom where Indiana Jones is trying to get the oh no, he's trying to get the antidote, and I forgot the fucking actress name, but anyway, the female lead. Um, they're trying to get the diamond
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. I
night.
remember.
But then I was like, oh, did he watch that film before doing this? I don't know. Just
I
maybe
don't know, man.
coincidence.
There were a few moments in this film where it reminded me of other films, but I loathe to even compare reputable films like Temple of Doom to this fucking piece of hot fucking garbage, man. Um, so yeah, there's a bit of a fight scene there, and then man, it just like, oh, Mr. Freeze escapes in a rocket, which
Oh my
is going
fucking
to
days!
space,
When I saw that, I was like, what the fuck?
and Robin's on the side of it, like just like yeah, exiting Earth's atmosphere.
I did.
What?
That's the thing. Well, I fucking question myself with this. Is like, okay, even if he did smuggle a rocket in here or somehow, whatever, what the fuck is fueling it? Because this thing is tiny, and to get into Earth's orbit, you need like an entire like fucking like a couple of fuel like canisters, don't you? Like,
Don't even get me started, man.
yeah,
Don't
this
even
film
get me
makes no
started.
fucking
This
sense.
is
Who
this
cares
is
anyway?
a joke, man. Like it's like what? Let's not even get into the fucking physics of this shit, yeah. Because it doesn't even. It doesn't even like this. This is just the start. This is just the
I
start.
know. I was like, oh no,
Because
it's been 5 minutes. Like, oh,
Robin is on the outside of this thing. Batman's on the inside. Mr. Freeze freezes him, right? And then Mr. Freeze jumps out because this was his plan all along to send Batman and Robin, well, or just Batman, whatever, into
into
space.
space.
So fucking Mr. Freeze jumps out and has some kind of like bat wings of his own, right? Then Robin comes inside, and like fucking lasers back. Oh yeah, by the way, Mr. Freeze sprays
Yeah,
Batman with the
Batman's
freeze
arms to
gun
the
just
wall.
to only gets his wrists, obviously, because you freeze everyone else inside,
Yeah,
but not
why not
Batman.
freeze him to
Like
death? But
why would you freeze Batman? Just do his little wrists, little handcuffs, which Robin, comes and frees him from, and then they get on like these flying surfboards.
yeah, it's like they smashed the doors and converted them into them,
Yeah,
or
I
maybe
don't
they
even
had them on
know.
them, but it's like,
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
even know what to say. I didn't. I was writing this down. I'm writing down the notes, and I just wrote flying surfboard. Like what?
yeah.
Why?
I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is this? And like,
This is
so
the,
I don't know.
and
There's
then, yeah, and I've got
supposedly,
like another 2 hours of this shit. Like this is the first 5 minutes.
yeah. Again, like, I hate to get back into the physics of this, but like, there's supposedly, let's say they haven't gotten even near to space. Let's say they're at, like the fucking height of plane flies or something, or
Yeah.
whatever. Or I don't know, even a kilometer above Gotham.
hmm
Like, what the fuck? Like, what is stopping their momentum? Because I remember what's his name, Robin. He like glides across a roof or some shit, which
Yeah.
doesn't break
Yeah.
his legs from the fall, regardless.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
even if it is offsetting some momentum. But like, what does Batman do? He uses his cape or something, or like, I don't know. Or he steals Mister
No, yeah,
Freeze's.
because he jumps. No, I think he jumps onto Mr. Freeze,
Yeah,
and then takes his. He
wings.
releases him
Yeah,
from his, yeah. So he basically takes Mr. Freeze's wins, and then Mr. Freeze like gets his freeze gun and like shoots downwards and kind
into
of
the
creates.
furnace.
That kind of makes sense to me, but it doesn't as
Nah,
well.
but like his gun must have like the highest recoil known to man.
Yeah, exactly.
But whatever. Yeah, they
Yeah.
go
So
down to the
then,
furnace, right? Yeah.
yeah, so they all basically land on their feet somehow. And then Mr. Freeze is like running off. He's got the diamond somehow. No. They're running after him, and then Robin like jumps out after Mr. Freeze with the gem in his hand for some reason, and then Mr. Freeze freezes him, and then takes the gem off him and goes, "Oh, Batman, you've got 11 minutes to save me or capture the villain," you know. And Batman just picks up Robin, throws him in. Whoops, throws him in. Throws him in a pool right next to him. You know, there's like
Yeah,
just a convenient pool there,
inexplicably, whatever.
and then
But
heats up the whole pool. Like it makes no fucking
yeah,
sense.
I mean, like even so, it's like you have 11 minutes to do this. He could have, in this because he does this within like 30 seconds. He could have somehow, however he fucking do it, apprehend Mr. Freeze in whatever way, or at least nick the diamond back,
Yeah,
and then just stick Robin in the pool like
he had
later.
more than enough time because
Yeah,
he said
and
Mr. Freeze goes. He's got you've got 11 minutes to save your sidekick. Yeah, and then and Batman does it in literally like 30 seconds. You know, it's like.
I don't know. And also, I really wonder what like sort of fucking heater gun he has because like that's like a
Yeah.
huge body of water and it heats up in like
Yeah, just like that, like a
and
kettle,
would
quicker
Robin
than a
like go
kettle.
alive? I don't know. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, he gives a flying fuck, man. So then we move on to Poison Ivy. She's like, you know, she's in some kind of botanical garden, whatever, some laboratory, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm doing some experiments, but my crazy boss keeps nicking this formula. Maybe I should go check in his office for the first time ever."
Yeah, which
So
is
she
right next to him and has no lock on it or anything.
Yeah. She's like, and she's never thought to go and see what he's up to, you know. So she knocks on his. Well, she doesn't even do that. She just walks in, and the ununited nations are there.
Yeah, they had
Um,
6 people up there, didn't they? And I assume they're all meant to represent different things. So I think there was someone in what looks like an East German uniform,
yeah, for sure.
like a
The head
Soviet-looking
representative was
person.
there.
They have Fidel Castro, Kim Il Sung, and an African guy, and someone who's like an ambiguous Arab. So
Yeah, it was like I don't know. I don't even know what to even. There's like when we were doing Batman 1966, we mocked that film for the United Nations representation here. This makes that look plausible. You know, that's how bad this is. This is like fucking bordering on racist as well.
yeah, basically
Um,
is anyway. It's like this is the worst people ever. And yeah, we're not even gonna say which. Actually, they couldn't fucking say. If they said it was like Saudi Arabia, they'll get like the production team will get
mate.
shot.
So yeah, I mean, the premise of all this is quite cool though, because this crazy doctor is like creates Bane basically, and this was
Yeah.
I was super like thrown off by this. That was the most unexpected thing. I was like, oh shit, they make this is because I saw what was going on. There's like a guy that's strapping to the table, and he's like, and I'm seeing Venom. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know Bane was in this, and yeah, they create Bane, and as much as it seems the whole obviously film is bullshit, including the scene, it was kind of like quite a cool way to actually do Bane. And it reminded me of like almost a worse version of Captain America, like that film when he's created and that
I think
the
so.
chamber and shit and the people are watching him. It was like kind of the similar kind of premise, right? And yeah, um, they created Bane. So and you never even got to see his face, the actor's face. I had to look him up. It was some wrestler, obviously.
Yeah, he actually that I think that guy I forget what his name was, but he died I
He
think
died
2 months after.
shortly
Yeah,
after
after
this
Scott
film.
release. He probably he wasn't the only what's it called fatality of this film to be honest because I think Bob Kane died a year after release. So that's how much
Well,
badly it affected it maybe.
well, the less said, the better. But yeah. um. So yeah. Obviously, Bane gets created. And it's like super soldier kind of thing, and that's quite plausible in terms of being Bane's origin story. That's quite comic book accurate. It's not done in that's a fairly accurate actually what happens with him. So okay. Then Poison Ivy also gets created. We get her little origin story here. Like this is a lot less. This was even less like this is just like her being pushed into like a table of fucking like in a chemistry class, man. Gets pushed onto a table, she falls onto it, and then another table falls on her, and
Yeah,
that's it. And then,
this is why you should wear your safety goggles, kids. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then she becomes poison ivy
yeah,
from
no,
that.
she becomes poison ivy like 24 hours later when she starts to come out of the ground
Yeah.
or something like that.
So yeah, then and then we get the hat trick of villain origins. We get Mr. Freeze's origin
Oh my days.
on. They're watching this. This is I laughed out loud at this.
No, I was like,
Actually,
okay, maybe they're going like, when they saw like, oh, this is Victor Freeze, he's trying to save his wife. It's normal,
yeah,
and then you see the bit where he fucking falls backwards into the pool. I was
yeah.
like, what the fuck?
It was so bad, and it's like it's Arnie that goes like I laughed out. I had to stop the film. I was laughing, like I was literally like, what the fuck? Because like you said, I was like, oh, I was watching. I was like, oh, cool. They're doing like the animated series origin story and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is good.
Yeah, because by this time, like Heart of Ice as an episode had already like
Yeah,
been made, so
yeah.
it's not like they didn't know what to fucking do. Like, come on.
Yeah, and they started off by following that script, and you're like, okay, this is cool. And then yeah, he just he
He
just
just
falls
falls
backwards
backwards.
like like the pinnacle of Arnold's acting career, man.
Oh my.
And yeah, that's how that's that, and they're like, okay, that's Mr. Freeze's. Tick that box then. I don't know if that was even worse than Two Face's origin story. I think Two Faces was even worse though. It was just
Yeah,
like
I think.
he like holds some paper against his face, like on the
Yeah,
TV.
well, no, I think this is actually worse because it botched. Like they had like a good formula for it, but they just completely botched it. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's
I mean,
really
they
it's
did.
like two bald men fighting over a comb in it.
Yeah,
Um,
they did. What's it called? They introduced like was it his wife had McGregor syndrome that was
okay, yeah, that was good.
later on. That's
And I
literally.
liked that actually a lot of they kept coming back to that in the film and with Alfred as well. I thought that was really interesting twist.
Yeah.
But we'll get there because I don't know. Yeah, because I actually will. It's a good segue now because the next thing we do, we go back to Wayne Manor. We see George Clooney as Bruce Wayne. And watching this film, I didn't even. I wasn't watching Bruce Wayne. That was just George Clooney. Like he
Yeah,
didn't
that
even
confused the
acting.
fuck out of me. Like,
I didn't even
I
get
thought to myself,
the
oh yeah,
feeling that he was
fucking.
actually acting. He was just like he was just there for payday, man. He wasn't even acting. He was just He was smiling. He's like having scenes later on with Alfred, like on his deathbed, and Batman's like, yeah, like smile. I mean, George Clooney's there, like smiling and stuff. He can't keep a straight face.
Yeah,
Robin,
it looks
at least
like.
the
I
Chris
mean,
O'Donnell guy, as bad as he is, at least he's like trying to give some kind of earnest delivery, and like, oh, Alfred's dying, and like I'm trying to show that I care about it. But
I mean, George
and then
Clooney knows
George
he's
Clooney
going
was
to get
like,
paid either way.
yeah, he is dying, isn't he? Yeah. Oh, what a shame.
No, that's the thing. Like, I don't know, George Clooney as Bruce Wayne in this film just looks like someone's dad who's been cast as Batman. I was like,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
it was so bad. It was so bad. Like, just try a little bit, man. You know,
I don't know.
he's going to end up below Adam West for like for Bruce. Well, I mean, not that Adam West was a bad Bruce Wayne, but like I don't know, man.
Yeah, we
And
finally got someone to make Adam West not at the bottom. That's basically it.
oh yeah. Well, that's good at least. But because we've got like I don't know, and not just his lack of acting in this film, but also just the shit he has to do. Like when he looks over and then he sees like a window, and then there's like a flashback. Then it's like the worst. Like I could edit a fucking flashback better than that, man. It's just like you have the frame of the window, and then like he has some kind of flashback of like he's running down the corridor and then grazes his knee, and Alfred like picks him up again. It's like
I don't
what
know.
the fuck am
I
I
mean,
watching?
I don't know. You might not like it, but I personally kind of, I liked just the fucking. It's because of Alfred, all right. I liked the what's it called, like the flashbacks. Because the only thing I thought was,
No, that was
no, no, no.
so bad.
The only thing I thought was okay in this film was like the relationship with Alfred,
Well,
because it makes you
Alfred's
remember,
character
oh,
development.
Alfred was, interesting, or well, he was okay in this. I mean to
He got
say.
a bit of character development. Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally it. But like, I don't know. It reminds you that he actually raised Bruce Wayne himself, being like, yeah, he's just spawned here with like three different people who claim to be Bruce Wayne running through.
Yeah, but I think they could have done the flashbacks a little with a bit more effort,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
That's like
That's
George
true.
Clooney was
They
like
were
had
like
complete influence over. Like, oh, George, you've directed a couple of films, haven't you? How do you think we should do this? Just throw it on there and I'll look over and it just appears there, Like they could have done something a little bit more dramatic with that.
Yeah,
but...
they could have done the flashbacks better, but I mean, the fact it's better that they were there rather than not being it, I feel.
No, I disagree. They were so bad. I'd rather not have seen them. Shave 5 minutes.
To be fair, I was like half like I was like a quarter zoned out during this, so maybe I didn't notice how fucking badly they're edited.
Oh, it was so bad, and this wasn't even the worst one. There's a worse one that comes later. But anyway, and then we go back to Mr. Freeze's base, and he's watching his wedding back, his wedding tapes. No, sorry, my mistake. We go to his base, and he's watching the cartoon. So yeah, this is where you got him.
Oh
in
yeah.
The
And he's trying to make him sing, isn't it? Like his henchman or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that bit was like it's obviously terrible, but it was kind of funny to watch. Like just
it was. This is where I'm like, this is where I give it its I give it its spaces, I give it its context. It is what it is. Let's roll with it. This is Arnold. This is him portraying Mr. Freeze. By the way, I want to add. By the way, why the fuck would you make a Batman film with Bane in it and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't Bane? Surely that's the Batman villain he's born to play, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. But then you wouldn't really see.
He's fucking Mr. Olympic, yeah, one of the most like muscular guys and all that shit. And who is Bane? Literally, like, why wouldn't you make Arnold Schwarzenegger? Why wouldn't you cast Arnold Schwarzenegger as Bane? That's the most obvious thing I've ever seen. Like, he's even got the accent, not a South American accent, but to Americans they wouldn't even know the difference, right? So like, he's got an accent that's good enough. And he's like physically, and then you can have Arnold shirtless the whole film, which he would love, and you'd have like a pretty good-looking Bane as well. As in like his whole. I don't know why. How did they miss that trick? I don't know.
I think the reason is because they didn't know what the fuck to do with Bane, because he's basically just like henchman the whole time. But
yeah, that's true.
They needed like someone who's memorable to be Mr. Freeze, so they could have fucking sell all the toys they possibly can.
Yeah, you're right. I suppose. Well, it would be stupid. It would be stupid of me to think they would do something logical in this film anyway. Yeah. Anyway, so and then I think we're coming. So he's there. He's like, they're not singing his cartoon properly, whatever. And then this like ice hoe comes up to him, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm really hot," and he's like, "Oh, I doubt it," and she's like, "Oh, like." Why don't you want to get warmed up? And he's like, he turns it down, man. He's like loyal to his wife, and shit. And you're like, wow,
Yeah, he says specifically, my passion thoughts for my bride alone or something.
What does he say?
He says like his passion thoughts for his bride alone.
That's the most Sigma moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's still
a different
devotion to a woman, but like, out of everything in this film,
yeah, it's not we got much to pick from.
Yeah,
but
literally.
I think that's got to be it, because I mean, it's just the act of turning down this hoe, and he's like, I mean, he does it with Poison Ivy later, but Arnold Schwarzenegger is although maybe he's a bit beta because he is like simping for like frozen wife, but
yeah, true. I don't know.
She's not gonna know when he wakes up and when she wakes up and she's cured, she's not gonna know what's happened, like, I mean, but I don't know. I mean, he's loyal, but yeah, like I said, there's nothing Sigma in this film, so that's the closest we're gonna get, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so where are we? So fucking so then he turns down this hoe, and you're like, oh shit, he mentions the wife. Are we gonna see her? And we do. And we see her in a much cooler thing than I expected, because she's in I forget what you call those things, like, because she's like in a hidden chamber in his HQ. Not very well, by the way. But,
yeah,
and it's like in the same thing that Dr. Drain is in I Need a Doctor, like, I forget what they're called, but
cryo chamber or some shit that she's in.
Cryogenic chamber, something like that. But I think that's the one where you're frozen, like what Walt Disney's in.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. They're in some sort of not a septic tank. I don't know. Anyway,
the scientific word for that escapes me, but
the way they
I just remember Dr. Dre and I Need a Doctor from that.
The one thing that I find kind of fucking that ruins it a bit again is like the way that he gets in there is like he moves aside like a false cover with like frozen food. I'm like, like to get to his like kind of dead wife, and it's like, come on, man. Like it would be funny
Yeah,
if it wasn't for what's behind it,
yeah.
like
And it's so bad because Batman comes along later on, and it's the first thing he does. Like, the first thing he notices, oh, let me move that. Bang, done.
yeah, let me just go through his freezer. Oh, there's a button here.
Yeah, the security in this film. That you know what, I've never seen consistently worse security than in this film. These make look. This is the equivalent of Star Troopers aiming, right? The security in
Yeah,
this film across so many levels. We get Mr. Freeze, like where he keeps his wife. Later on, actually, we'll get to it.
yeah,
The
fuck it. Let's just
security is
keep going.
bottom
Let's
one in
just
this
keep
film.
going down this fucking rabbit hole, man.
Yeah.
Oh, one
And
thing
then
I
we
do
maybe
don't.
get
The one
we
thing,
get. Sorry.
yeah, one thing beforehand. Sorry, even though I just said let's move on. I don't fucking understand is like they say that Mr. Freeze, his like suit is kept cold by like laser enhanced diamonds or whatever, so he has to steal diamonds to fuel it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck that works, but basically, I think everything hinges in this film around him just nicking diamonds, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I never really want. I mean, the whole point, Mr. Freeze, he has to stay at zero, you know,
Yeah,
degrees all the time. So, like, and in the, I mean, I can't believe we're using the 60s series as a reference point, but here we are. In that series, he's wearing like basically almost like a spacesuit, like an astronaut suit, right? And that
yeah.
makes sense because that has its own kind of air conditioning inside. And this, yeah, it is confusing, like his
But you're
suit.
telling me the '60s series made it make more sense than this?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And you know what? I might be wrong, but I think Mr. Freeze was specifically created in the 60s show. I don't think I don't want to get this wrong though.
Yeah,
But I don't
you
think
don't
he
want
was
to
in the
get this wrong
comics.
because, like,
I think he was in the comics, but he was Mr. Zero. That was his name. And
maybe
the
they adapted them.
60s Batman show made him like into Mr. Freeze and kind of gave him like more, and kind of evolved that character, or maybe even invented it. I don't want to get that wrong, but that is my understanding. I think it might well have done. That might have been the first of Mr. Freeze, like, because I mean that show invented a lot of Batman villains, some really bad ones. You don't even want to like Egghead,
Oh yeah, of course.
you know.
Yeah, I think Nicolas Cage just said when
Yeah,
he was asked
yeah,
if you
yeah.
can play a Batman villain, he'd be like, Egg.
Maybe Nicolas Cage, your chance to do that was in this film.
Yeah,
That's not.
yeah, they should just put him in there.
Yeah.
Oh well,
Nick
yeah.
Cage, man.
Maybe it would have made this film a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, man. Anyway, and this is maybe where we get to the worst part of the film, the worst factor in this film, because when we watched Batman Forever last week, and I was like, Robin. I thought it doesn't get worse than Robin. It does. We get Batgirl slash Barbara, but Batgirl is Barbara Gordon. She's Commissioner Gordon's daughter. Everyone knows this, right? This is her origin story. She's fucking Commissioner Gordon's daughter, and then she becomes Batgirl, and she gets disabled by the Joker. She's wheelchair bound, and she becomes
No,
Oracle. Okay.
isn't she Alfred's
In this film, she's Alfred's niece.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's confusing
So
as fuck.
unless Alfred and Commissioner Gordon are brothers, which
Yeah,
I don't know, in this
Michael
fucking Pat
Goss and
Hingle slash
Massacre, maybe.
Michael Goff quadrilogy, maybe they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this didn't work for me at all. That I hated this. I resented this, man, because it's like, oh, this is my niece from England who suddenly turns up on their doorstep. She's American, so why? How is she? Why is she's meant to be? Is she meant to be English or what? Because she's Alfred's niece, so must be
Yeah, she
must be English. But
supposedly
then she's
lives in
American,
England
so
because she was
right?
taught at Oxbridge, so
Yeah, but
yeah,
like,
that's another thing they got
is she
wrong.
meant to be? This confused me. Is she meant to be English or not? She must be.
I'm not even sure really, because
She's got
like
an American accent. She's obviously American, so I don't
maybe
know, man.
not.
The less we talk, the less pissed off I'm going to be. The less we talk about this fucking Batgirl. But anyway, and her like 30-second exposition to explain herself is that, my parents died 5 years ago and Alfred's been supporting me since. How? Like what? Financially, or I don't know. Like, have
Yeah, emotional support, like calls or
I
something.
don't know. Yeah, because Alfred hasn't been in England, obviously, so they haven't seen each other for I don't know how long, man. And then Batman Bruce Wayne doesn't have a clue about any of this either. I don't think the fact that he's even got a niece is news to him, right? So I don't know, man. And her parents died in a car crash. Robin's obviously horny for her straight away.
Oh yeah, the first fucking thing he says when he sees it is like, "Please be looking for me," and I'm like, "I'll just shoot
Yeah,
yourself."
she's like climbing up on the door frame of the entrance to Wayne. Anyway,
Yeah, was she gonna break in? I don't know.
um, and yeah. So anyway, and then yeah, Alfred's there later on, and she goes. She has a little bit of heart out with Alfred, and she's like wants to tuck him in. I'm like, okay. There's like some very weird, like strange stuff going on, man. Strange dialogue later on as well. I mean, we'll get to it, but anyway. The next thing, the thing this entire fucking film revolves around is Bruce Wayne donating a big telescope to a observatory, right? The biggest one in Gotham,
Yeah,
which
that
looks
can
pretty
like
cool
see
actually,
all
because
over
it's
the
like,
world. So.
what is it? You never really get a whole view of it, but it looks like a massive statue holding a ball, which this telescope is pointing at. Something
Yeah,
like,
I think so. What happens is they've got some sort of satellite mirrors in orbit. So this fucking I don't know. Maybe he also watched Diamonds Are Forever before this, um, and they've got like so mirrored satellites around the Earth that can reflect the light to this the light of the sun or whatever to this telescope, so they can see anywhere on Earth, or also they can see around the Earth. I don't know. It's cool apparently. So
yeah. I mean,
fuck
I
knows.
I just saw that and I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm not even going to question this. I'm just okay.
It's just the Batman and
Yeah,
Robin MacGuffin.
let's move on. And then yeah, so then Bruce Wayne's doing all this shit. He's got a girlfriend there, and Bruce Wayne. This is the George Clooney, mate. The bare minimum you have to do as an actor is remember some lines, or have some lines, or even improvise. You're playing Bruce Wayne. That is not really the hardest role, especially at this stage of like you know
Mm.
Batman in
Yeah,
general.
this
It's not like
degradation
you're
of
following
Batman.
up with Christian Bale or fucking Ben Affleck. You're following up of like Val Kilmer. Like no disrespect to Val Kilmer, but it's like the bar isn't astronomically high, right? And you're a respected actor, George Clooney, right? Until I fucking watch this film, because he gets asked the question by a journalist, and it's like, oh, and who's this fine lady you've been dating? Are you going to tie the knot? And he's like,
Yeah, I was confused about that as well. Oh
he
fuck.
like loses his shit. I'm like, mate, come on, like, you're Bruce
It's like
fucking Wayne.
am I watching a
This is
blooper that
just
they forgot to cut?
is this Bruce Wayne on? This isn't Bruce Wayne in this film. The Bruce Wayne is not there. This
Yeah,
is George
that's
Clooney.
that's genuinely how I feel because
You know?
they've gone through obviously different actors of Bruce Wayne, but like it actually feels like the fucking in this Michael Goff universe or whatever, like the reality itself is breaking down around them and people are becoming more retarded. Maybe this is a symptom of it.
Yeah, man. So anyway, he loses his shit over this question, and his girlfriend bails him out, and then Poison Ivy rocks up, being not like security's job is to stop people, like, and the security is like escorting her over. She's like walking, they're doing nothing to stop her, they're just going, oh no, you can't, madam, you can't, madam, but come
Yeah,
this
like
way
she could
towards
literally have a
Bruce Wayne. You
gun and
can't
just
meet
shoot
Bruce Wayne,
him.
but let's walk towards him anyway. And then the security is literally basically giving her VIP escort to Bruce Wayne. That is literally what they're doing. They like bring her to him, all the time going, it's like, I don't even know, man. It's so anyway, they have a little bit of back and forth, and then Poison Ivy gets to deliver a speech to the whole of Gotham's elite, and she gets laughed at, blah blah blah. It's like if you thought the Edward Nigma, Val Kilmer interaction was bad, it may, this is, and it's like Bruce Wayne creating a villain. This, like, this.
Yeah, basically, yeah, Bruce Wayne is destroying the environment. Fuck you. This is what you can do to stop it. And it's like, okay, we're going to take everyone back to the Stone Age in Gotham.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
anyway. So then we go back to Mr. Freeze, and he's watching his fucking wedding tapes, and he's crying but not crying, but he's sad there, he's like, you know, kind of like some decent acting from Arnold Schwarzenegger, you kind of like, oh, this is a sad moment. You're like, okay, I'll buy this. And then one of his goons comes, interrupts him with the newspaper. He fucking freezes this guy, and where is it? I hate when people talk during the movie. And
Oh my fucking day. I
so
didn't
so
even
he's
know he said
and
that.
then he goes back to being sad. So it's like you just paused your emotions to make this pun, and then go back to being, actually, I don't know,
It's
man.
like that's the thing. Like, it might sound stupid, but there are like moments with Arnold that like it's like a glimmer of good acting as Mr.
Yeah,
Freeze. Like I thought it'd be controversial to say that, but it's like sometimes it's almost like he's going somewhere with it, and then he like fucking stops to make a pun. It's like, fuck.
yeah.
Like that's the thing I feel like with this Mr. Freeze, it's like okay, like you've got the like the Heart of Ice original sort of like backstory to it, but you
Mm.
also got him like being a complete buffoon. Like you might as well have just gotten rid of that backstory and just made something fucking stupid because like having his wife in this is like
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's like whiplash for
yeah,
for the
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
you
It's
know.
very conflicting, But anyway, yeah. Let's just move on. Um, so then we cut to this weird like auction slash circus slash I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, slash slightly racist party, whatever's going
Yeah, yeah. Gordon's there. Batman and Robin are there as like guest stars. I mean, this is obviously all a plan to trap to apprehend Mr. Freeze, right? And Commissioner Gordon is there for some reason. Yeah, your job is to like protect the city and like be a police. This Gordon is so bad. No, he can't do anything good. You know.
Yeah, he feels like the
At least Alfred, like you know, has
Alfred
some
is something
character
to do.
development. You're like, okay, I'm buying into this character. I'm starting to like, fair enough. Gordon's just stupid, and it's not even like a funny stupid like the one from Adam West. This is
Yeah,
just like
he's
embarrassing.
just like painfully retarded, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um.
Yeah,
So anyway, so they're auctioning these diamonds, and then these two gorillas kind of, correct me like if I'm wrong, but what is actually going on in this auction? Because they're like bidding on, I think they're not bidding on the diamonds initially. They're this like bunch of like fucking millionaires or whatever, and they're bidding on the women.
yeah, that's what I was
There's this
confused about. Are
like
they bidding on them or
is
like?
this like some red light district shit, or
Yeah,
like
I
are
was
they
like,
bidding?
yeah, is this illegal? Maybe something
What's
to
going?
bust this. I don't know.
This film is PG, so I'm not really sure what's going. I don't know, like what's
I don't
going
know.
on
I was
here.
confused as fuck. Maybe it's like they're bidding on the diamond, but like some of them are joking as if they're bidding on the women. I don't know. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, I don't even know because then we get these two people in gorilla suits shuffling over, and I don't
A
know about
bit
you.
questionable considering there were like people dressed up as Africans and like natives dancing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, bit of racist imagery going on here, man. Um, and anyway, these two gorillas shuffle over these big, and I was I thought straight, okay, that's obviously Mr. Freeze and
a goose.
I thought it was Mr. Freeze or something like that because they're very big. And then I was like, takes the hand off. It's like, oh shit, Poison Ivy's in there, and she gets out and she walks over, and she's like, she's doing her thing, and then I don't know what's going on. It's like how this doesn't make sense because she's there and the whole auction stops and like they're just all rolling along with it and she's like, it's like those films like musicals, right? And then just in the middle of the musical, like the thing is going on and then all the side characters, all the extras stop to do like a fucking choreographed dance
Yeah,
and
that's how it
everything.
feels.
It's not meant to. Yeah, it's like because you got these guys like laying down to make like a human path for her, and like
Yeah,
and all
I
this
don't
shit.
know.
And okay, that works because Poison Ivy, that is what she is as a Batman villain. She's like uses seductive powers to, you know, like do her shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Although to be
And
fair, it's like the only thing she does is just blow fucking like love dust at people.
yeah,
The whole film.
and she does it, yeah, on Batman and Robin, and they start bidding on her, and you just get the most cringe back and forth you've ever seen, and it culminates in some American Express product placement as Batman pulls out a Batman embossed credit card out of his thing. He goes, and then never leave the cave without it. And it's just like, what am I watching, man? What am I watching? What am I watching right now? You know?
I
Because you've
honestly
gone,
don't know. Yeah, there's like that thing is like, oh yeah, Robin's betting millions. He's like, you don't have that money, so I'm gonna borrow it from you. Like,
yeah, I'll borrow it
fuck
from you.
stupid line, man.
And oh my days, man. And man, and you know what? Because you know what it reminded me of in Batman 1989, in the opening of that film, you get the two robbers, if you remember, two muggers, and they're going through the purses and shit that they've snatched, and they find the credit card, and like, oh, and they make a joke, never leave home without it. Like it's a very little side comment. It's not like product. It's just like okay, whatever. And you've gone from that in the space of four films to this. you know. And this is like the same universe, technically,
Yeah, it's like
right?
them, like they at the beginning they're making fun of like how fucking stupid that line is, and then they use it.
Pretty much, I guess. I mean, I don't know. And anyway, oh, then Mr. Freeze rocks up in his tank and, you know, frees a few people, and then Poison Ivy falls in love with him for some reason. And there's no explanation for that. There's nothing logical at all about that. She just falls in love with Mr. Freeze. He turns her down, obviously, because he's loyal, you know, to his frozen wife. And then he just takes the jewels off her because she's like in love with him for some reason, right?
Yeah, yeah, because she can't seduce him, so
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
because
that's
he's
right. Because
cold-hearted.
yeah,
Yeah,
which was kind of cool. I was kind of like, okay, because you know it's like, oh, she turns the blood of men warm, you know, whatever, and then you can't do that with Mister Freeze, obviously, right?
yeah.
So I was like, okay, fair enough. Anyway, and then we get to a car chase, and like I don't
Oh
know.
no, this is just like we're watching this car chase. It's like, is this an advert for toys or something? Because it's you got Mr. Freeze's stupid fucking tank that appeals to kids. Looks like a woodlouse, if anything, with spikes on it.
Mhm.
You got the Batmobile, um, and then you got
The
Robin's
Red Bird,
motorcycle. Yeah,
Red Bird. That's what it's called.
the Red Bird. Yeah.
Yeah, the Robin bike, whatever. And then you've got the two like Mister Freeze henchmen as well,
Yeah,
right?
who are just there for some reason, just so
Oh,
they can crash them later on. I don't know.
yeah. Like, what purpose
It
does that
serves
serve?
zero. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. This is just terrible. And it's like the I don't know. They're driving over this fucking thing. It's like bad CGI and all this shit. And you like you know you don't even really like bother even questioning why they're up there, how they got there, whatever. But they're doing it. They're driving, and they're like I don't know. They're driving off the fingers of this giant statue. You know, 100 stories into the air, and Batman and Robin are having a conversation mid car chase. And Batman, they can talk to each other, even though Batman's in the Batmobile. But then when you go on his close up, he's not in it, or I don't know. Like
Oh, I don't. I actually
they're
don't
having
know.
this
Maybe they've got.
conversation, and then Batman like remotely disables the Redbird, which is like that is more dangerous than letting him attempt the jump. You know, like he's like,
Yeah. It looks like, yeah, he almost falls off because of it. It's
oh
like,
mate, yeah. And then Batman makes the jump but doesn't because Mister Freeze freezes the Batmobile midair, which is cool. But somehow, you know, the thing is though, back because the fucking tank and the Batmobile, which weigh probably about 3 tons each, make the jump, but a little motorbike and the two villains' smaller cars don't make it. That doesn't make any fucking sense. They
oh,
like crash either. They're just there to like crash either side of Mister Freeze's tank to make it. All right, good, look, cool, fair
yeah,
enough.
to be like, oh yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so then the Batmobile gets frozen midair, but then Batman ejector seats out of it, lands on Mister Freeze's tank, and then we just cut to Arkham Asylum, right?
But yeah, that was a
No,
weird cut.
sorry, not Arkham Asylum, to the Batcave. He takes him to the Batcave.
Yeah, it is
He's
a very weird cut. It feels like they're missing like him
yeah,
apprehending him. But I mean,
like
maybe
did
he
they run
looked
out of
just.
budget in this scene, and they're like, oh, we could have a little showdown here, a bit of dialogue, but they're like, nah, let's just cut to the Batcave.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it'd be a bit weird putting like extra size handcuffs on it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So then, you know, for some reason, Mister Freeze is in the Batcave, like you know, apprehended. I don't know why. Whatever. Anyway, the point of this is just so George Clooney can have a little bit of dialogue with Alfred, and have another terrible flashback where he looks up and then there's like it's just the worst, like the worst mock-up grave ever. Of you know, and he's just there by this grave, and like Alfred's there. It's like okay, all right. And then and it's just so bad. The cuts from George Clooney just smiling. It's like he's remembering his parents' death, the
Yeah.
most traumatic day of his life, which turned him into this fucking crime-fighting vigilante. Yeah, and he's like, oh yeah, like smiling, like he's in an ad. Like, oh yeah,
I know. It
what a
feels like
good
I
times.
can't be bothered to make another like comparison between films, so I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, man, because he's like, oh, I don't know, man. He's like reminiscing. Oh yeah, that day my parents like, well, that was good, wasn't it? Anyway, then we cut to a pretty cool scene overall, with its flaws, but obviously, you know, um, This is Batman and Robin we're talking about. So we cut over to Arkham Asylum, right? And I think this is the first time in a Batman film we get a really good look at Arkham Asylum, right? I mean, we got it a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, like because the at the time it appeared in Batman Forever was really brief.
Yeah. And was that the first time we ever saw Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, I think so.
It was, wasn't it?
In the live action, that is.
And in this, we get a little bit of the interior of Arkham, which is pretty cool. Because you've got Mr. Freeze's cell, and he's being like, it's really cool actually. He's like being, on a what do you call him? I don't know. He's being wheeled about basically in like a fridge, pretty much, right?
Yeah, it looked a bit fucking stupid to me, but
I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, how
yeah,
else?
I guess considering like how like retarded this film gets, maybe it's like less stupid than something other.
No,
So,
I think if you saw this in like one of the Arkham games, it would make sense. Like, how else would you transport? Because right when they're transporting other like the Joker, or whatever, you always see him in like what do you call it? A straitjacket, right? Yeah. So you always see that, and they're being wheeled around like that, and that's how it happens. Hannibal Lecter, you can go on. But you can't do that with Mr. Freeze, so they put him in
the giant box, yeah.
A free.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like seeing Arnie in there, like in a freezer. Like,
No, I bought it. I liked it. But anyway, and then you get like a little bit of like he gets put into his fucking cell
corner, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got like I don't know how this makes sense, but they've got like a beam of coldness, just above his bed, and he's like, oh yeah, and it's just like the worst security ever. This is Arkham fucking Asylum. This is a mental hospital, right, for the criminally insane.
Yeah,
and the
criminally insane
security,
super villains or something.
It's got the security of like your local corner shop, man. Literally, like
basically. Yeah,
like,
although I was like kind of thinking, oh, it's stupid. He's gonna fucking escape like this because he knocks them both out, but he can't leave.
Well, yeah. Obviously, he can't escape, which is cool, and you get that little bit. I mean, it's really because he turns around, and he's like, oh, like that. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, the security it makes me want to shoot yourself. Like you'd think this would be like I don't know, like the most highly like a patrolled place on Earth, more or less.
Exactly. There shouldn't be better security than for this place. It should be like Fort Knox-esque, But anyway, so then we cut to Bane and Ivy. They've teamed up. She's like, he's her muscle basically, and she's they go to this random biker gang, fucking hideout, whatever, and they're like, yeah, well, there's current tenants. Well, we'll have to take care of that. Bane sorts them out by like jumping on a plank of wood, and all 5 of them fly off over his head, and that's it. And yeah, I mean, that's they take over this hideout, and then we get like we cut to Wayne Manor, and you've got George Clooney and his girlfriend there, and she's like, this is just the worst. Like, who the writers for this film, man? With the writer's like 9 years old, because she's like, well, I don't want to beat about the bush, but I want to be with you for the rest of my life. Let's get married. He's like, oh well, I don't really want to, da da da. And then like, and then she's like making out with him, and he says Ivy, but he doesn't say Ivy, or he's like seeing Ivy or whatever, and he's like,
Yeah, that was confusing me, but like this feels a bit like the last film's love interest, where it's like they just copy pasted someone who's like blonde who he can make out with, basically. But the scenes in which that she's in with him aren't as bad as the ones in the previous film, where it's like just like absolutely retarded. She's not like trying to psychoanalyze him or anything.
Yeah, that's
Isn't talking to him as Batman, and it's like, yeah,
that's true. Like, well, later on we're gonna do the love interests, right? And I suppose in this film she is the love interest, right? And she's definitely going above fucking Dr. Chase, man, for sure.
Nothing could get worse than that. Unless I'm mistaken and there's something worse coming up. Like,
I mean, Poison Ivy, you could say, but I think I don't know. We'll fucking get to it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to dwell on the fucking subject because then we get. Yeah. So George Clooney, Batman, whatever. He's like still like thinking about Ivy. And then you also you cut to the Batcave and Robin's fucking knocking one out over a Poison Ivy as well. He's like finding the security footage and like zooming in on her face. He's like, oh, like fucking jizzing there, right? And then he's also like looks on the other monitor and he sees Batgirl there, fucking Barbara Pennyworth, whatever she is, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, she's taking a bike. Says, oh, I'm going to go after her instead, So and then this makes no sense.
Oh
This
yeah, there's
doesn't.
this weird fucking biker
Yeah,
gang
yeah.
race that's
She
rigged where they try to kill her.
she's been in Gotham for like 2 days, right? And she's already a regular in this biker gang, completely unexplained,
Yeah, they're like, oh, you
completely
won it twice already.
unnecessary, serves no purpose apart from to waste 5 minutes of your life. There was no purpose to this scene, to
Nah, it's
this
because they have
film.
that bike collection just show off, and they just show fucking maybe Chris
No, it's
O'Donnell
not.
will
We
have
don't
like
need to
some
see that
biking
again. I know
stars. I don't
it's
know.
Bruce Wayne, man. Of course, he's got loads of bikes and cars. What's the
Nah,
point of the scene? She's like, you just get this random bike, like death bike chase, whatever it is, right? Like I'm getting shades of fucking the other Arnold film, The Running Man. Have you seen that one?
I haven't. I'm not an Arnold enthusiast like you. So.
Oh well, no one is compared to me, man. But in The Running Man, if anyone's seen that, it's like it gave me shades of this. It's like this bike chase, and they're like fucking, you got your life on the line. They're like, and they're doing it, by the way, 50 stories in the air as well, and there's like a ramp which just leads into fucking oblivion, man. It's like, what the fuck? And they're all racing towards it. Like, what is going on?
I think the whole thing is to see like who can get to the finish and also at the same time stop so you don't die.
Yeah, and not die. Yeah, I don't even know, man. It's fucking
But it
stupid.
makes no sense in this
It
either.
makes no sense in this fucking film. Um, and it's so predictable as well because she flies off the edge, whatever, and then a biker catches her and catches himself with his foot, like.
Yeah. It was
And
it was Robin, wasn't it? Like,
And then and it's like takes off his
and they
helmet
have
and
like a
turns out to be
fucking
Robin.
yeah, they have like the most sudden cut as well. Like to the next thing where she's like, yeah, I got kicked out of Oxbridge for this. Biking is not
Oh
accepted
man.
there. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
So Robin's like followed her, infiltrated this gang. He saves her, and then it just randomly cuts to fucking Wayne Manor, a bit more exposition, and and then it's like, oh, and then it's revealed out basically. Oh, it's like, so what are you actually doing here? Oh well, I want to free Alfred from being a servant, and can't you see he's dying? And then you're like, oh shit, like he's not just dying inside because of how bad these films are. The
He
character's actually
actually is
dying as well.
dying. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was like
exactly.
thinking
He's
to myself,
actually dying. Okay. And then you're like, shit, okay, so Alfred's got a bit of meaning now. Fair enough. So, yeah, fucking so and then we get, Robin and Batman, they're also talking about it. They're like, Alfred's dying. George Clooney's like smiling, like, yeah, well, what a shame, like, does it like just zero fucking acting there. It's just like, oh, well, I don't know.
yeah.
So
Then we have a really weird cut again. Like afterwards, it's like, oh, it goes right from this scene to like, what was it?
Mr. Freeze back in
Mr.
Arkham
Freeze is in
Asylum.
prison again. It's like, oh, you see, and I was like, what the fuck are they gonna? Okay, thank fuck. Then Freeze's sister turn up.
Well, yeah, because we get to Mr. Freeze in Arkham, right? And he's like chiseling out a little ice sculpture of his wife. That's a little, again, like a throwback to the animated series, but worse, obviously. And yeah, so he's doing that, and then Poison Ivy. Oh yeah, that's right. She's like, oh yeah, Mr. Freeze, your sister's here to see you. He's like, my sister, and you're like, okay, well, and I'm thinking to myself, well, it's bad enough that you haven't, the guards, the security, whoever it is, haven't questioned if Mr. Freeze got a sister, haven't questioned the fact that he's questioning that he's got a sister, and then furthermore, it's not like there's even like a visiting area or some security. They're just like, yep, you say you're a sister, great. Walk straight into his cell, no problems. Like, is this an asylum or not? Like, what is this shit?
Yeah, it,
At
it's like
least,
a fucking retirement home's got more security than this.
yeah. At least give exactly. At least give the illusion there's a little bit of security. No, this is a fucking prison, man. What is the point? So anyway, and then Ivy kisses these guards and kills them. This is pretty cool. You get the criminal property locker room, right? And you see the Riddler
Oh
suit.
yeah, I made sure to pause on this just to take a look.
That was very cool. I was hoping there'd be a little bit more. I was just really hoping there would be like a little bit more, because this reminded me of Die Another Day when You know, when they walk through Q's lab and you see all the little gadgets from the previous Bond films and stuff, and I was hoping there'd be a little bit of that, but all you see is Riddler's. I mean, it was already cool to see Riddler and Two-Face's costumes, but it wouldn't hurt to show us something like from the Joker or Penguin. I mean, although they died in the film, so I don't know, but I don't know. They could have done something there, but anyway, it was at least nice to see a little bit of that, and remind us of better times. Better times being Jim Carrey's Riddler, so. That tells you where we're at.
Yeah.
And anyway, so Bane just swans in there and fucking knocks out one of the guards, picks up Mr. Freeze's gun. Freeze and then they're all in this cell. They close the door, and then suddenly there's some security just when and the guards don't know how to operate their own doors, right? And so they cut through the door. There's no way out. Bane. They're like, oh, Bane, you could get us out. He bangs on the wall once and goes, that's not going to work. So then they all fucking basically hold hands and jump off off the tallest fucking building in the world, man. 50 stories into the water. And
that's maybe question it. With him on top,
Bane can swim, and that's it. That's all the explanation you need, man. So bad. Anyway. And then, in the meantime, Batman and Robin goes, oh, yeah, Mr. Freeze has escaped. And they go and find his HQ. Batman easily finds Mr. Freeze's wife frozen there. And then Poison Ivy is there, right? Poison Ivy gets there. And this is all like a trap, right? Because although I didn't really I didn't follow what was going on here. Because, Poison Ivy, Freeze, and Bane just jumped fucking into the water fucking half a mile below them, right? And then you cut to Batman and Robin, and then at the exact same time, Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy come from a different entrance, from underneath, I guess. I don't know. And then it's okay, I'm going to take care of them. So Poison Ivy goes and what happens here? She leads them to Bane, right? She does that love dust, whatever. She brings them to Bane, and you think, okay, I'm not expecting Tom Hardy versus Christian Bale here, but I'm expecting some kind of little bit of a fight. Do you know what I mean? This is Bane after all. He's Batman's
who else are you going to have in a proper fight?
They have a little bit of 1-2 and that, but it's just it's pretty embarrassing stuff, and as you'd expect, really. But it culminates in fucking Poison Ivy getting with Robin trying to kiss him, and Batman stops them, and then Batman and Robin start fighting, and then Batman just throws Robin into this paint that's randomly there. It's what's the point? What's the point? What is that?
No, yeah, I was half expecting, is this going to be how the new Joker's created or something
Yeah, I'm because we've already seen in the same universe Joker falling into the vat of chemicals. We've seen Mr. Freeze fall into the freeze thing. So what's this? And it's just Robin, falling into some paint, literally a massive tub of paint. This film's pissing me off just talking about it, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then Robin's like, "Fuck you, Batman! I'm going solo." Blah blah blah. Robin's IQ in this film is just room temperature in Mr. Freeze's lair, right? That's what we're talking, right? Fucking room temperature in Mr. Freeze's lair. That is Robin's IQ. And anyway, so in amidst all the chaos, Poison Ivy, this was a really cool twist. She goes and she kicks out the life supply, the umbilical cord of Mr. Freeze's wife. I was like, oh shit, that was dark, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. I was like, what the fuck?
That's pretty cool. I was like, oh, nice, okay. And then she goes and she finds Mr. Freeze and she's like, yeah, Batman killed your wife, man. And he's like, and then you get a really cool, a nice moment. And it's again what we were saying before about Mr. Freeze.
He sometimes has moments,
little moments, and this is one of them. You get the tear which freezes halfway down his nose, and you're like, wow, that was really good.
Yeah, and he has he goes into a fucking rage over this, Mr. Freeze when he's like, yeah, their bones will turn to ice.
And she proper gaslights him, it's and why just Batman and Robin? How about Gotham? How about the whole world? And they get this world domination plan, and then he's like, and she's like, yeah, we'll be the last two people on the earth, and he goes, Adam and evil, which is I always like that quote. And his delivery of it is amazing, man. And anyway, so then we cut to Alfred, who turns out has the same disease as Mr. Freeze's wife. What's it called again?
It's
McGregor's disease or
McGregor
something,
syndrome,
right?
but it's in like the
Syndrome.
first stage or something, so he can
Yeah.
actually cure it.
Well, no, they say they can't cure it. It's just like, oh, he's basically terminally ill. Like, we can
Yeah, but
just
like
make him as comfortable
Mr.
as
Freeze
possible.
has a cure for the stage
Well,
one.
yeah. Batman and Robin know that, but yeah, as far as they're concerned, Alfred's,
Yeah.
time's running out. So then we get basically, then we cut to, I think the telescope place again or something like that, right? And Poison Ivy goes and like, she seduces, Commissioner Gordon, right? And
Well,
this,
does this happen next? Because I'm pretty sure like there's like the little bit with Alfred telling his niece to like.
no, that comes a little bit later. That comes
Oh
a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
later.
Maybe I'm getting these mixed up.
But
It's hard to remember
we
this
can just
film.
move on to that as far as I'm concerned because Batgirl, Alfred's niece, she's like, oh, I come into terms with the fact her uncle's dying, and on his like, these are like potentially his last words, man, and it's like on his dying wish, he's like, yeah, just get this to my brother, like who's a butler in India or something, right? And and it's confidential, don't look at it, it's just for him, and this is my dying wish, as like the last family in my world, just please get this to him. And the first thing she does is fucking break his like wish, man, like his dying breath, she's like, well,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
family, I'm gonna
family,
do
I
this
guess. And
myself.
he's like, fuck. You'd been better off like getting Robin to fucking deliver it.
Yeah, for real, man, it was just the worst, man. I mean, it's like, at least I don't know, it's like, do you care about, I don't know, it's just so bad.
Oh yeah, she's guessing the password like a million times as well.
Yeah, man, she's guessing the passwords and shit, it's just so bad. And
Yes,
this,
I half wonder if like because I was like something's a bit off about this computer, and I realized that she's doing on like some old Mac or something. I wonder if they paid them to like make sure that you could see the operating system. I don't know.
oh, really? Probably.
I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but you never know.
um, but anyway, and then, anyway, bottom line is she discovers Batman and Robin's identity because it wasn't the most obvious thing in the world. And she goes into the Batcave. And then it's just the worst thing ever. It's the worst fucking thing ever because it's like you get a fucking monitor of Alfred going, intruder alert, intruder alert, intruder alert. Like, just like in the most monotone fucking Alfred delivery, not alerting anyone except the intruder. What is the point? Oh, man. And it's like identify yourself. And she does. And then she's like, oh, yes, I anticipated you would want to do this. I anticipate. And it's like, so what? You knew your niece, I don't know, like this doesn't make sense because it's like you I don't know, does he know that her niece is so shallow and fucking such a shitty human being that even if he gives a dying wish to her, she will break that promise and then go and like disobey him, and then he's like, oh well,
Yeah,
I knew you'd
yeah,
do
that's the
this,
thing
right?
that I also just realized. He would know that she would find this, which is all classified information about
Yeah,
Batman and so on, and is like, he's just pulled a Vicky Vale V2 here. But
yeah.
his excuse, I assume, would be like, oh, so that you can have Batgirl with you, like a second, like a partner as well. It's like, I don't know
It's
about that.
so fucking bad, and it's also like as well. So, like, if you were gonna do, why even do the whole brother bullshit, man? What's the point of all that then? Just say, okay, when I die, have a look at this tape, and then she goes, oh, I'm gonna look at it anyway because anyway.
Oh, I
That
don't
would
know.
make more sense. Instead, you just make it look like a piece of shit and betraying Alfred or whatever. I don't know. And then yeah, and he's like, well, I knew you'd want to do this, so I even prepared a suit for you. I'm like, oh, okay. And you're like, all right, well, should we get the suit up montage? And I was thinking to myself, are we going to get, what happens now? The makers of this film have a decision to make. Are you going to give her? Are we going to get a close up of her ass and tits as well with nipples on the suit? Surely not. But yes, that's exactly what we fucking get. So, you know,
I was like, by the time that happened, I was like, fuck, I
I'm
need to see
like,
another one of these.
I couldn't wait for this film to finish, man. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. There's no fucking relief. Anyways, then in the midst of all this, I don't know if it happened before or after, but Poison Ivy, they're all at this again, some Wayne event, and she like seduces Commissioner Gordon, and he's just like, this is the most embarrassing performance of fucking, I don't know, man. Like this, it was better for this Commissioner Gordon to be like he was in the other films where he was anonymous than to actually do something and for it to be this
Yeah, it's
embarrassing.
like this is the only film where I actually realized he existed because it's the only time I see them. He
And
had
he
enough
just
screen time
embarrasses
to
himself. It's
realize
just
who's
so
who.
bad, and he's like, oh, and he's just his face. He's like, like this, oh, I don't know, man. And and anyway, she basically gets the key to the bat signal off him, right? And and she goes up to where the bat signal is with Bane, and you think, oh, what's going to happen now? I thought like Bane's going to destroy the bat signal or
Yeah,
something.
that's what I thought
So no
too.
one can but all he does is just lift it a couple of inches higher, and that's it. You know, I thought we were going to get a really cool moment of like Bane putting his fist through the fucking bat signal. So I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking cool. He's going to throw it off the building or some shit. But it does. He doesn't do that. And the bat signal is already on, and he just lifts it up a little bit, like a foot, and that's it. Like, what's
It's
the
just
point?
I don't know what they do because like they replace it with a Robin or a Raven or whatever. I'm like, what do they like come? Do they come here like with a ready built print which is like bigger than they are
It's
to stick
so
on?
bad. It's so bad. Anyway, so then yeah, Poison Ivy basically brings Robin to her lair, and anyway, when he sees the Robin sign and he's running off, and Batman goes, "Oh, you told me partnerships are all about trust, so trust me now." And they're having this fucking meaningless bullshit dialogue no one cares about, man. It's not even worth fucking repeating or going into. But bottom line is, he goes to meet Poison Ivy, and he's like, oh, well, she's like, yeah, kiss me. And he's like, I'll kiss you when you tell me what Mr. Freeze's plan is. And and I was like, well, and then she instantly rats him out. But I'm like, okay, well, at the beginning, I was like, okay, well, that's bullshit because I thought she's meant to be in love with Mr. Freeze. But then she's like, all right, she thinks she's going to kill Robin anyway. So it doesn't really matter. She can tell him whatever she likes. So he kisses her. She kisses her. She kisses him. And then he's got the rubber lips. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like thinking to myself when he pulled that off, I was like, that's kind of dangerous to do it when you're still next to her. Like she could just try again.
Well, that's the thing. Like, could still like a bit. What if it goes a bit of tongues? Like,
Yeah.
and then what? Do you have a rubber tongue sheath as well, or some shit? What about around the face? I don't know. Like, how much have you studied how this fucking toxin is transmitted from her lips to yours? Like,
Fuck
I don't know.
knows.
Anyway, luckily the rubber lips do the job, and he knows
Unluckily in this case.
yeah. Anyway, now he knows the plan. And you just get this really, and she pushes him down into like some water where like some plants are pulling him down, and there's like this the worst. This is like a shame on the video editor's, the film editor's career, man. Where it's like he comes out of the water, and then they just do the reverse footage of him going back in.
Yeah.
Like you could have at least filmed. I don't know. And anyway, and then you get Batman turning up, and he gets easily caught up as well.
Yeah, and all the vines and then
And by the way, man, how bad is Batman in this film? He's barely in this film.
yeah,
He's
he
like
barely fucking does anything
he's
actually come to think
barely
of
in
it.
this film. He's like, oh man, so unnoteworthy. This is
One
oh,
thing I will say, which is unrelated to Batman in this, is that the actual layer for Poison Ivy, I think, looks good, personally. I mean, out of all the
yeah, it was
layers and
okay.
sets in this, because like most of the sets look like fucking shit. I
Mm,
don't know if I mentioned this. Like,
yeah,
it looks like it looks like we've gone back to 1966. Like, but it's
it
like they don't
reminds me
have an
of like
excuse with the
fucking like a
budget.
theme park, like Thorpe Park or something, man, or like some kind of shitty like
But
I don't know, man. It's just like this half-assed. Because and I got the impression, I haven't looked up what the budget was for this film, but I get the impression it must have been a pretty big budget, man. You've got like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the time, man. This is like at the peak of his powers, man. Like he wasn't in his prime, but he was certainly dining off his prime. Like, he'd just done. I mean, not just done it, but he was still riding the wave of Terminator 2, Predator, all that shit. True Lies. He was doing. He was still very much in his like, his
yeah, he was in his
biggest basically.
heyday. Not like with Terminator Dark Fate, where they just bring him out, wheel him
Well,
out
that's when he
of the
came back from
coffin.
acting altogether. But like, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger and George Clooney, two huge names, man. They're huge names. And yeah, in this film, Batman's so unnoteworthy. Like Robin is more in this film than Batman. I'm sure of it. But anyway, uh, so then Batman gets easily caught up. So, what happens now? And then Batgirl comes and has a little fight with Poison Ivy. she gives this feminist speech mid-fight as well. And Poison Ivy gets eaten by her own Venus flytrap, whatever, right? And so okay.
Yeah, I thought she could control plants, but apparently, I don't know, after you get beaten in a fight, that changes.
Oh man, so bad. And Batgirl introduces herself to Batman. It's just this cringe fucking dialogue. I don't even really want to go into unless you do.
I can't. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I think Batgirl's not PC. She do Bat
Oh
person,
yeah.
Batwoman. I'm like, you're called Batman, but whatever. He just
Oh,
looks like
so bad.
fuck.
And then it's like, oh, I guess we have to kill her now, Robin. But let's do it later. It's just like, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that too. It's like,
Oh, it's so bad. Like, I don't know, man. Like
so
George
she
Clooney,
knows about the
man.
Batcave. Oh, do we kill her? No, we'll do it later. And it's
Yeah,
like, oh,
oh,
okay.
mate. It's like. So anyway, in amidst all this, Mr. Freeze has hijacked the telescope and he's freezing Gotham. And as he's freezing Gotham, we get these bat vehicles, and it's like you get the bat ski again. I say again because it kind of reminded me of the one from Batman Returns, but it's obviously not the same one, but it might as well be.
Yeah, it's not for water. This one's for like ice or whatever.
Nice,
Maybe
yeah.
they're both meant to be for that.
Well, they're the same style, right? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I know. They've got the Redbird as well. Yeah, and
no, they've got
oh no,
the
no,
an
they've
even
got a weird
worse. It's
fucking.
like I don't know what that vehicle is because Batgirl's on a bat bike. Batman's in this, and Robin's like on this kind of
Oh, I don't know what
like a
those
little
things are.
hovercraft kind of thing. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like a.
it's a hovercraft with like a
It's so
yeah,
embarrassing.
a small hovercraft or
It's like
something.
it's like a lifeboat with a big propeller on the back. That's all it is, pretty much.
No idea, honestly.
It's
Like,
so bad, and you've got like, and they're like all driving down the like the road with like the back ski in the middle, and these two. None of these three vehicles make any sense like together. It makes and then you got the heading off against the Mr. Freeze tank and all this shit, and it's just whatever. And they have a bit of a fight going on, and there's like this thing where it's like they both Batman and Robin and Batgirl fall off this building, and he catches her and he's like, yeah, I got you. And then his fucking grapple comes out of the ice, and then she gets him and shoots another grapple like, no, I got you. It's so bad. It's so bad. And they're fighting Bane, and then like Bane has them pinned up against the wall. This is meant to be a guy with superhuman strength. He can fucking break their necks with like a fucking pencil. Do you know what I mean? But instead, they're just there like being choked, and then they both like kick his pipe off at the same time, and it's just like,
yeah, that's the thing I don't understand because like it's fueling
oh,
him with venom. Like, okay, maybe his strength won't go on for much longer, but like he's probably got like a few good like seconds still left in there. Oh, who gives a shit?
I don't know. It's so bad.
I mean, Bane is basically a footnote in this film anyway, so it's not like it's even important at this rate.
I know, man. It saddens me. But you know, having said all that, well, I don't know. Anyway, and then we've got Batman and Mister Freeze. They're having a bit of a showdown as well. And it's obviously it was really hard for them to do a fight. You know, any kind of fighting with Mister Freeze in that suit, right? Because they
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
basically have a fight. They were just knocking each other over, pretty much, right?
yeah, yeah. One thing I noticed in this film actually is Mr. Freeze, like he fucking maybe he took his name too seriously because sometimes Batman's doing all this shit and he stood still. Like you notice that sometimes in the combat, it's like he's
Yeah,
like sitting and waiting for Batman to come up and punch him in the face. Like I don't
yeah,
know,
literally.
man. Maybe his like suit's malfunctioning. He's actually fucking frozen solid. You know,
Yeah, man. Yeah, for real. Yeah, can you
it
imagine
makes
that? He
it
just
makes
like has
Michael
to break
Keaton
a little
look
bit,
like
like, oh yeah, okay. Um,
it makes like Michael Keaton look dynamic in his suit. Like, come on, man.
yeah, for real, man. Yeah, for real. So anyway, Batman is like thawing out Gotham a bit, and then also Mr. Freeze, and he's like, yeah, Mr. Freeze, you failed, and then he goes, no, I haven't, and then these bombs go off, which kind of do a bit of damage because
But yeah, it's
the
still
whole
okay.
telescope is. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, but like the computer on it's still working because like they've
Well,
been reflecting sunlight from the Congo into like Gotham or something.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I thought that was an all right solution, like for this,
no,
series.
no,
Like,
yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, within context, you know.
yeah,
But
within context, I was like, okay, this is an all right solution. But after they blow the place up, I'm like, how are they going to do it now? It's just the same plan, but we're just going to wire the computers together.
yeah, exactly. And you've got fucking Mr. Freeze lets off some bombs around the place, and by the way, during like the last 10 minutes of the film, these scientists with the most upper body strength you've ever seen just hanging off this telescope, just
Yeah,
like
they have to make quips every 2 seconds too, like
yeah,
this
we need to.
terrifying thing in their
And
life.
it does make sense because they were frozen before, and then they're like normal again. And there's no
I think Batman
explanation.
heated them up or something. I don't know.
No, there was never a moment where that happened. They just thawed out randomly for some reason.
No idea. I don't know.
Anyway, so anyway, basically Batman saves the scientists. Because they're all falling. Batman saves both of them, and then on his way up, also picks up Batman and Robin and Batgirl. Sorry. And then you get a pretty cool bit of dialogue between Batman and Mr. Freeze, where he
Oh,
reveals
yeah.
actually Poison Ivy tried killing your wife, but I saved her, and
Yeah, that was a big plot twist. Actually, I was like, oh, she's not dead.
yeah. I was like, oh shit, that was good. And then Arnold, like, it's like, oh okay, that was a good plot twist. The way they used Mr. Freeze's wife in this film was very good. That's the only bit of credit I'll give the writers and creators of this film. That was all well done.
Yeah, for this bit, that kind of redeemed the fact that they actually had her in here. I think
Yeah. That was
pretty well
definitely well done.
because he
And
can continue like studying how to save her.
yeah, because they're
But
like, okay,
it's like,
Mr. Freeze, and then Batman is trying to talk to Victor Freeze, the Doctor, and he calls him Doctor as well. He's like trying to, like get back to the
yeah,
human.
tap back
It's
into
like,
like who he used to be.
and that's pretty cool actually. I'm like, yeah, that's good. You gotta give credit where it's due, right? I mean, and that's not often in this film. Because then, yeah, and Mr. Freeze is like, yeah, you're right, man. And then he's just like in the sleeve of his suit, he's got conveniently got two antidotes right there. So
Yeah, it's
perfect.
like, Doctor, please call me in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then he puts one of those antidotes in Alfred's drip tray. I forgot what you call it. Drip something.
Yeah, I don't know, his drip, his
It's just drip.
drip bag, fuck knows.
Yeah, drip bag. I can't remember. So yeah, he puts it in there. Alfred comes back to life. All good. Um, we get a little cut back to Poison Ivy, who I thought was dead, but she's not. She's in. This scene was not fucking necessary at all. I would rather just gone
Oh
Poison Ivy's
yeah,
dead,
she's
but then
doing
she's not dead, and she's like, and she's still in love with Mr. Freeze, and she's like, oh, he loves me, not blah blah blah. And then Mr. Freeze is like, oh, I'm your new cellmate.
gonna make your life a living hell. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's a
So,
big, yeah, that line fucking leaves a lot ambiguous. I'm like, what the fuck?
it's so bad. Yeah, it's so bad. Oh, and there was another bit before I forget. It was a little bit early, but I just skipped over it. But I wanted to mention the bit where George Clooney and Alfred's on his deathbed, and George Clooney's with him, and he goes, oh, I love you, Alfred, and Alfred goes, I love you too, Master Wayne, whatever. And then like,
Oh
and
yeah,
you're
he
like,
goes to
okay,
reach.
that's enough. And then it's like going in for like this kiss, but
Yeah,
it's.
I thought that was it. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, I'm like, and it's ambiguous. Obviously, he didn't kiss him on the lips, but they don't make that obvious enough for my liking. And then George Clooney.
Yeah,
Anyway,
feels his face and his hair, and I was like,
I think George Clooney is actually. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No need to go into that. But anyway, basically the film ends in the just
yeah, it
in.
ends like the last one did as well. Except now
Oh,
it's
so
real.
bad, so bad, so bad. No, it ends even worse than the last one. I didn't think that was possible, but it's even worse because Alfred is there and Batman and Robin and Batgirl, and
Oh,
they're like,
there's
yeah,
stuff all over the
Robin and
place.
Batgirl, like, yeah, partners. And then they look at fucking Batman and like partners, and he's like, partners, bang. And then yeah, and you're like, oh god, like this film's finally over. But no, you need the little bit of the shitty theme song, and they're running away. You get
Oh, the
Batman
theme
running away,
song.
and then you get fucking Robin and Batgirl either side of him. And thank fuck that is the end of one of the worst films I've ever seen.
God,
That's
the
2 hours
fact,
of
the
my
fucking
life I will
worst
never
part
get
is
back.
the fucking worst part is you can tell that they were gonna try and do a third one after this, but the fact that it got like
Yeah,
reviewed into the floor got that cancelled. In fact, no, not even that. They were gonna do this. They were planning even a fourth film after it as well, like in the works or something.
I bet they were, man. Thank fuck someone put a stop to this. That was terrible. What a fucking shit film, man. What a waste of time. I'm like, I really hate when I watch a film where I'm like where I regret wasting my time. I mean, we're doing it for the sake of this podcast and etc. And the positives of this is that it's gonna be like, forever the bottom of all the rankings, and it just boosts up all like, the films that I don't want to be bottom but would be if it wasn't for this, like
Yeah,
Batman
true.
66,
I mean,
basically.
The thing that I found that was weird with this film is,
Mm.
like, it was actually Arnold that I thought was like the most entertaining part. That's the weirdest thing
Oh,
because
easily,
he's normally
easily.
known as like the thing that was shit in this film, but I'm like,
No,
actually,
no, no,
it's
no,
funny
no.
to watch it.
For me, Arnold was the highlight of this film for sure. I thought,
Not that it was good necessarily. Some parts were like he has his moments.
no, no, no. He definitely wasn't good, but he was the best part of this
Yeah, he
film.
was entertaining at least.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. And his puns and shit. I'm like, I'm a sucker for Arnold. To be honest, in his puns and stuff. And he was having fun with this film. And this was coming towards the latter stage of the first part of his acting career because he retired in like 2004 when he went into politics, right? And then came back. Anyway, but this is where he's coming towards, and you get films like Last Action Hero and The Sixth Day, and like shitty films like that at the turn of the century. But um, anyway, that's it. So let's go on to the rankings.
yeah,
I
let's
say.
get into ranking this because we said already that we'd probably put this Batman George Clooney at the bottom of the list because we have Michael
Yes,
Keaton at number one and then followed by Val Kilmer and then Adam West.
and I
But
have a
like,
treat for the viewers on YouTube. We have a visual ranking now for some of these. I haven't made them for every category, but we do have a visual ranking now for some of these. So here, yeah, we have it. Like you said. So go ahead. What have we got so far? We've got Michael Keaton number one.
yeah, it goes Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and then Adam West at number three. But
Yep.
I think we can both agree, like we said this already, that George Clooney is definitely going below.
He's going rock fucking bottom, mate. And I'm not even. You see this two ranking I've got here. I'm not even going to put him like up. I don't even want to do that. I'm going to put him right down there. There's no one. You could have fucking Rowan Atkinson play Batman in a
He
fucking
actually could.
parody, and I would put. I'm sure he would put in a better performance than fucking George
Yeah,
Clooney.
'cause it wasn't even, I don't know. He was like doing the fucking like he was doing like Sean Connery in You Only Live Twice, like tier sort of acting. Even in fact, he even looked
No,
more
no, no.
poor.
You mean Sean Connery in not You Only Live Twice. You mean Never Say Never Again.
Yeah, that too. But in both of them, he looked fucking tired. So I don't know. Anyway,
This was like
this was beyond that. This
this
was
might
worse.
be. When I think about it, I'm like thinking the worst acting performances, individual acting performances that I've ever seen in my life. This George Clooney is Batman, Bruce Wayne
Yeah, he
is
goes.
right down
Yeah,
there. It might be
undoubtedly.
it might be the worst individual acting performance I've ever seen. This is terrible. He
This
didn't want to
it's not
be
even the
there.
fact. It's not even something to do with him in that like he looks doesn't look like the part or anything. Where it's just he didn't even try.
No,
Like
he was just disinterested. He's like, I can't wait for this to be over. And in a sense, I relate to you, George Clooney. I agree with you. I wanted it to be over as well. But because of you, you're not helping the situation. Try
yeah.
and fucking help us out.
Oh well.
He
But
he
anyway,
was he was paid to do this film, man. He was probably paid a very large sum of money to do this film.
yeah. At least like Arnie was having fun with it. Like
Yeah, man.
I
Like
don't think
fucking
you're meant to be
even
having
Chris
fun
O'Donnell,
with your
as bad as
pastime.
his character is and everything. You can see he's putting some effort in.
Yeah.
I'd rather see someone put an effort in and fail than George Clooney, who is, broadly speaking, a respected actor. You are capable of putting in a good performance. And it's not that hard to try and just be a bit serious. At least don't fucking smile when you're talking to Alfred about his death.
Yeah,
Just
I know, man. Like
basics.
anyone could have done that. Like, just
Oh
don't smile. Like, oh, I don't know.
yeah.
And remember your lines. That too. As Bruce Wayne, I mean, because yeah, we definitely sorted the Batman ranking here.
Fuck George Clooney as Bruce Wayne, man. Let's move on.
Bruce Wayne again at the bottom of the
Sorry,
list.
that's his Batman. Yeah, sorry. And then we got to rank him as Bruce Wayne. So let's put him same
Yeah,
again.
back at the bottom again.
Bang. There you go, mate.
I'm sorry. He's not even Bruce Wayne. He just looks like a guy standing
Ooh.
around in Wayne Manor.
Yeah. Let's put him. Yeah, let's put him there. So there we go. So Val Kilmer number one, Michael Keaton number two, Adam West number three, George Clooney number four.
Yeah.
Okay.
After this, we've got
What have we got next?
our two people who played Robin. Chris
Uh,
O'Donnell is not going above Burt Ward, is he? We're
no,
gonna
no,
keep it at
no,
that.
no, no.
I
That's
just-
staying as it is.
And now, actually, we do have our Alfred ranking with Alan Napier is still above Michael Gough, but I think this film, I mean, as shit as it is, and even the fact that like the Alfred has to be like one of the interesting things here is that I think this doesn't put him above Alan Napier, but it raises if this leaves Michael Gough in like my good books by the end of it, because
Yeah.
at the very beginning in the first two films he was kind of forgettable, but throughout these four films he's kind of evolved a bit, and even if like in this one and the last one they used him for some fucking stupid jokes, like
Mhm.
there are times where he's like having dialogue with Bruce Wayne and Robin and well not really Batgirl, but like that are like they're nice moments kind of, or
I
like they're
agree.
interesting and they reflect on them, like when he's talking to Bruce Wayne, like what do you why are you Batman, or are you going to throw the towel in, or
Yeah.
are you trying to stop Robin from killing people, and so on and so forth. So yeah,
Alfred, yeah, I
just
agree. Alfred grew on me, and obviously they just gave him a bit more still. I liked the kind of the threat of Alfred dying, and you're like, oh shit, like that's a bit. I don't want, I don't rate him, but I don't want him to die, that'd be a bit of a shame,
yeah, that's true.
Um, so yeah, but like I say, that doesn't mean he's going above Alan Napier. Alan Napier's still number one so far, and Michael Gough number two.
Yeah,
Because lest we fucking forget, he let Vicky Bell into the Batcave, which is
yeah, and
just
then let his niece into the Batcave too.
yeah,
But anyway, um, yeah, and then we've got Commissioner Gordon, who
yeah.
somehow doubt that Pat Hingle's gonna make any movements. Like he's
No,
lucky to even be on the list. Like
he's like. Oh, he's like no, he's not. No, I think that's unfair. I was about to say he's like what George Clooney is to Bruce Wayne, what he is to Commissioner Gordon, but he's not that bad.
he's still pretty
But
bad.
he's very bad. He's very bad.
Well, anyway,
I'm glad we're never gonna have to see him again.
yeah, it's like I wish he was almost like you didn't see him on screen in this film. Like,
Yeah, I just rather we just have like a police officer, like whatever, chief of police, whatever. We didn't, just don't. You're just dragging Jim Gordon's name through the mud here, man.
yeah, I mean we do have.
Sorry. Actually, on Gordon, the final word on this Gordon,
Oh
right?
yeah,
There was a bit in this film. This is the first time he actually had something to do when they're in Mr. Freeze's lair or whatever,
oh
and
yeah.
Mr. Freeze gets back, turns the coldness back on, and then Gordon, he's the one that fights back and pulls the lever back up to heat. He does something. That's it.
Yeah, I know
But
he
then
does
later on,
something in
gives the
this
keys
film,
to the
and it is
Batman to
incredible that.
Poison Ivy. So.
But yeah, it doesn't take him. It doesn't move him up from rock bottom.
No, and
So,
that's how bad it is. Of the four films that he is in, that is the only thing that he does, and gets seduced by Poison Ivy in such an embarrassing way, and all for it to end, for her to go, she she has a chance to kill Commissioner Gordon and doesn't do it because he's so old and ugly and embarrassing.
yeah, that's what I
She
was
would
thinking.
rather let him live his pathetic embarrassing life, whatever, than actually put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. So that's the final word on Commissioner Gordon. We're never coming back to this again.
Yeah, I mean,
What's next?
interestingly, these the villains in this are all new. You've got Bane, Mr. Freeze, and Poison Ivy, but we haven't
Yep,
had
right.
any other iterations of them up to this point.
Okay.
So they are by default number one, I guess.
Okay.
Until we meet Bane again.
Yep.
Love interest. I mean, this is actually the
Mm,
longest list I think of rankings apart from the Stigma moments. But there's so at the top we've got Catwoman from Batman Returns, followed by Vicky Vale, and then Kitka from 1966, and then
Dr. Chase.
Dr. Meridian Chase.
Oh, mate. So, who is the love interest in this film? Is it Poison Ivy or is it Batman's girlfriend?
Well, I guess I mean,
It must
Poison
be
Ivy
Batman's girlfriend.
is mainly more of her weapon than anything. Batman doesn't have a genuine interest in or Bruce Wayne. So
That's true.
I'd say I don't know, his unnamed, not unnamed, but I forgot.
Did she have a name in this film? I can't remember.
Well, yeah, she definitely would have a name, but I fucking forgot the name.
We'll look it up next time for the next ranking. But where are we putting her? The nameless lover of Bruce Wayne, still definitely going above Dr. Chase. Are we putting her above Kitka as well?
Oh, I don't know. She was so like
She appears twice in this film in total, right?
yeah. I feel that she was so like inoffensive almost because she's barely there.
Yeah.
That it was like not really problematic. She's like the most average like love interest.
Neutral, yeah, exactly.
Have. She adds nothing to it, but she doesn't take anything away from it.
Exactly. And I think just on that basis of her not doing anything bad, I think she actually does go above Kit Kat.
Yeah, because she goes in the middle. She
Number
doesn't
3.
cause anything problematic where it's
Yeah.
like, is there a plot hole where she learns his identity? Or
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So she's going in at number 3 just by virtue of not doing anything bad.
Yeah, by not doing anything, basically. So there we go.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
And
Then we get to, we've got the Batmobile, right?
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, I've got a ranking for this. Here we go. Oh, sorry. There we go. So, yeah, here we are. So, yeah, number 1, we've got Batman 89 and Batman Returns Batmobile. We've got number 2, 66 Batmobile. Number 3, Batman
Hot
Forever
Wheels
Batmobile. Yeah, so where are we going to put this piece of shit, man?
this thing literally served no purpose other for him to drive it off a thing and have it blow up.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, personally, design-wise, I think it does look slightly better than the one from Batman Forever. I mean, it's hard for me to distinguish them, really, apart from
We barely see it. Yeah, we barely even see it. I don't know.
I mean, then again, think about it this way. This one isn't fucking hijacked by Robin and driven around, is it?
True.
They do make another chicks dig the car joke about it. So.
Yeah.
I don't know, they're both so like fucking shit that like.
I think. Oh, I don't know. The thing is, we don't really even see much of this Batmobile. We don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they even needed to make a new Batmobile. Just use the one from the last film, man.
Yeah, but that one got blown up, so they need a new one.
Okay,
that one got destroyed somehow. I can't remember how.
Yeah, nor can I. Well, what do they do in the films then? I think because the last one drives up a wall.
Oh yeah.
And gets hijacked by Robin, and this one makes a jump and gets frozen midair. I think the other one actually, at least it does something. So I'd be tempted to put that number 3 and this one number 4.
I don't know, but I mean, the scene in which it got like blown up by Mr. Freeze was like, I don't know. I really am not that bothered about it, so I might just go.
Yeah, fuck it. Just put it number 4.
They're both
shit.
So
it doesn't
shit.
deserve to be above anything. Nothing from this film deserves to be above anything. So, so then what have we got next?
We've got the bat suit.
Oh,
the different bat suits. So we have Michael Keaton's is kind of at the top, and Kilmer's is below because of the bat nipples, and then we've got Adam West, which you know.
Okay. And this is surely going number 4, right below the spandex suit.
Yeah, I mean the bat nipples and it's like just offensive at this point.
It's terrible, man.
Like, and the worst part is they even point it out in the film when Poison Ivy's like, "Oh yeah, you're anatomically a correct bat suit," and I was like, "Fuck off."
I know, and even like sounds weird to say, but even the abs are like overdone. They're overpronounced and everything. It's just like stupid, man. Yeah, this is definitely number 4.
Oh, actually, yeah. Keep going because
I mean, put it
this way, Henry.
Something. Let me ask you this, right? Say you win the lottery, whatever, and you decide you want to become a crime fighter, right? And you have to go and fucking face the scum of fucking society, and you have a choice. You can wear the Batman Adam West. You have 2 suits in your fucking wardrobe, yeah. You have Batman. You have Adam West's spandex suit, or you have George Clooney's fucking erect nipple suit. Which one would you rather fight criminals in?
I'd rather fight criminals than Adam West because they might like actually be incapacitated by laughter rather than like you know, and it'd be cheap to repair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
but
agree.
Like, I don't even want to dwell on this fucking bat nipples.
I wouldn't be caught dead in that suit, man.
I mean, what else is there? Oh yes, there's a theme song, right?
Oh, it's the same theme song from Batman Forever, which is shit. It's like dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it's not the Batman
so bad.
thing. It's like
it's so bad.
There's nothing from it that sounds like a Batman theme.
There's nothing cool or interesting about it. It's just fucking hell.
It's like, oh man. I actually after seeing this film, I can remember what it sounds like now.
Yeah. I don't want to remember it either.
Yeah, I don't want to remember it.
So fucking bad.
Still stays at rock bottom.
Yeah.
We've got a Sigma male moment, which is it's a kind of weak in this. What was that? It was
rankings.
Yeah, so we have Jack Nicholson's Joker saying I didn't ask when a woman is fawning over him. We have after that is Max Schreck saying actually it is very much like that when he pushes his pushes Catwoman out the window. Got Adam West saying I'm a capitalist, I just have all these gadgets to explain away what the fuck he's got up his sleeve. Then we've got Val Kilmer just saying women after talking to Dr. Meridian Chase.
Okay, and then
And
now
then
we've got
here
Mr.
we have
Freeze.
Arnold. Yeah, we both ended up coming to the same conclusion that him saying like basically he's loyal to his wife in a nutshell.
Well,
Uh,
he's just rejecting this easy shag,
yeah, he's rejecting a hoe basically.
which is like, barely even qualifies as Sigma. But considering what it's not like there's stiff competition in this film. I think the bit where he turns down Poison Ivy's maybe as well because like he can't freeze his blood or unfreeze his blood or
Yeah,
anything.
but I think it's more
Yeah,
like none of the lines like land at all, like as being kind of a funny
yeah, yeah,
moment, or
yeah,
like just something that's like, oh my days. But
yeah,
like even like Val Kilmer saying women was like at least like kind of funny. Like none of
yeah,
these are
yeah,
like
yeah.
at all like noteworthy. So
So
I have to put that at the
we're
bottom.
putting this bottom right, number
Yeah,
five as well.
so
Yeah,
yeah. Like the fact that you had to like scrape to find this is like
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
even good.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the most
Oh,
satisfying part of the
yep,
entire rank.
yep.
How what would you give this film out of 10?
Let's scroll down a bit. Okay, so here I don't have it from 1 to 10. I have it from. You can see the rankings
Oh
here.
yes, of
So
course.
it's
There
not.
won't be a
It's like
10. There will never be a 10 film.
well, there's no 10 out of 10 film, but 9.9, 9.8. We're going this rank. We gave Batman obviously 8.7.
No, we gave it
Batman
an
Returns
8.9,
7.1.
I think. And then yeah, we
Sorry?
gave we gave Batman 1989 an 8.9.
No, we gave it 8.7.
8.7, sorry, I'm retarded. I just maybe because 989, I just didn't
Yeah.
know. 8.9,
Batman
6.6,
Returns 7.1, right?
I think we just gave it a clean 7.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah,
So,
well, we're putting this well, okay, yeah, so we gave Batman Forever 4.5, I think, right?
yeah, we gave it 4.5.
So Batman and Robin.
Oh my days. Well, I mean, considering that like George Clooney actually like refunded people for this film.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. I mean,
Damn.
and fucking Joel Schumacher actively apologizes to people like to this day for how shit the film was.
Okay, you know what? I've gained some. I lost all respect for George Clooney, but now you just told me that, I'm like, okay, good for you.
Yeah,
He personally refunded people for this film.
apparently so. He said this film's a
Brilliant.
waste of time and money.
Good,
So
good on him. Well, he's right. But the problem is, George Clooney, you didn't help us with that. You were displaying that throughout the fucking film you're supposed to be acting in. So,
yeah,
you know, you're undoing your damage. You're undoing your own damage.
yeah, true.
Um,
I don't
I
know.
want to give
Well,
this. The only reason I really want to put this a really low rating, but I fear that Catwoman's going to be even worse. I really have this fear of that. But the
well,
thing is with this film, I'm trying to think. Okay, what puts this? What gives this some? What gives this some kind of credit, right? And I think just Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, the bits where he's good, is the only thing I like about this film. Other than that, so with that in mind, and you know what, Poison Ivy, what's her name? Uma Thurman, the actor, right?
yeah,
Actress. She was decent as well. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, again, the thing that I found, yeah, the two things I personally found the most interesting with this film was, well, entertaining was Arnold, obviously,
mhm.
and even if it was a bit fucking stupid, that wasn't the entertaining part. And yeah, Alfred and his sort of like, is he gonna die sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Alfred character building was quite good.
I'm trying to think. So those are the two redeeming qualities. Michael Goff's Alfred, which is somehow meant to carry this film.
Yeah, do you remember how bad it's got that is a redeemable feature of one of these films? Well, I don't know. I'm
I would
debating whether we give this a 1 point something or a 2 point something.
I
To be
would
honest.
say a 1.8. I fucking hate it is very rare that I hate a film. Like
Yeah.
this film irreparably damaged like one of the most like valued IPs in like a long time. For like a decade basically.
1.8.
Yeah, 1.8.
Yeah, fuck it. I agree. I was trying to think like how am I going to defend it to like a 2.1 or something, but nah, fuck it.
Yeah.
Why would I defend this film?
Yeah,
It's
if I have to
waste
give
of time.
Batman Forever you can watch like it as a joke or if you're fucking high or something.
No, oh yeah, Batman
I
Forever. Yeah, yeah.
actively warn, do not watch this film. Like, fuck
Yep.
this film, man. I hate it.
Don't bother.
I
What a
don't know.
piece of shit. It was, you know, and it was a film that was worse than I expected as well.
It was worse. The fact that Arnold was meant to be the fucking, yeah, like I knew it as like, oh, he's the worst part of this film. He was the best part of this film. That's how
Yeah.
shit the film was.
This film was even worse than I expected, you know?
Yeah, and they butchered like the I don't know, like they I don't know a film with Mr. Freeze, who's like a really good character from like the
Yeah.
animated series.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and the fact
Let's
there's never been one since. That
let's
tells
just
me
end
shit.
this series. Let's just end this episode now. I think.
Yeah, honestly, I could go on like shitting on this for
Yeah,
ages,
fuck
but
this film, man. Basically, that's our verdict. So
hopefully it gets better. But
well, next week we're gonna review Catwoman,
yeah,
Halle Berry's Catwoman, which I hate going to films prejudiced, but I'm not looking forward to this one to be honest. So
I hope that that cannot be worse than this.
we're gonna find
We're
out,
gonna have to
mate.
we're gonna have to like put negative numbers on this chart if so.
Well, we've still got a zero space for zero there, 0 point something. So
Yeah.
I put it there for a reason. So, but the saving grace is that after Catwoman, we've got some really good fucking films
Yeah,
coming.
that's true. From then on, I don't think anything can be classed as bad. I hope
Yeah,
because I haven't seen all of these.
yeah, this is gonna be good. So okay, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for suffering with us through fucking talking about this film. I promise we'll never do it again.
Yeah, please do
So,
not watch this film. I'm saying.
so
That's all I-
yeah, I don't think anyone needs our reaffirmation of doing that. So thanks for watching. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Leave us some nice comments and reviews. And we'll be back next week with Catwoman. Same bat time, same bat channel.